a human existence.
Right.
And that is the most tender-hearted way to connect with our fellow human beings, is through that realization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I did want to mention, you know, before we leave the topic altogether, I did want to mention that if people did feel some sort of urging or magnetism towards the Lakota Nation, I would encourage you to check out pathwaystospirit.org and see all the projects that the volunteers are involved in bringing new life to the Lakota people on the reservations in South Dakota and also in Colorado along the Front Range here in the Denver metro area.
So there was another piece that Coach Steve had a question about the young people and how I just want to touch on this piece a little more because I feel like our youth, they are our future, and you've heard it. When I was a kid, that's what all the adults were saying, and it's true. We all grow up somehow, and so this notion of how we can help our children who are lost along the way, and part of our society seems to be training in that lost quality through materialism and in our advertising and in our media. We see that all the time of what you need because you're not complete how you are. And that message gets through from the time you're born. When you're put into the world, there's so much advertising. So you just are fed all of that material on and on and on. And I think there are several pieces to that question and that problem, and it's going to take a lot of work to be able to help the young people as well as adults start to realize the deeper sources of reality that actually have more meaning. And what we've been talking about is evolution and what that means. Part of it has to come through experience of the child or the youth, actually seeing that there's a different way. And another piece is the media, which is going to have to provide more information that is useful instead of just information that is feeding the monster of materialism. And you're starting to see that pop up in a lot of different ways. Community radio stations and journalism are good sources of that. And it's not totally developed yet because it's not hitting our marketing campaigns yet, where marketing in its original form is driving materialism. And from the other point of view, we'll have to use marketing as a new tool, because that's what's reaching everybody, is this marketing, these messages, constant bombardment of this information about materialism. So if you can infiltrate into the media and into the marketing and start to convey a different message, a message that's interesting and a message that actually carries some sustenance that the youth can understand and feel inspired by, that'll be another key point, I think, to helping youth understand the importance of thinking of others.
Well, I think that you're absolutely correct, but at the risk of sounding old-fashioned, I would also like to say that it is extremely important in terms of, someone asked about how do we teach our little ones. Number one, unplug. Unplug. You know, I used to be a nanny, and I've worked with children extensively in my past. It is not healthy to put down a little tiny 1-year-old in front of a TV or a video screen, some sort of electronic screen. You know, unplug. Do not let mechanical devices raise your children for you. Number two, get out in nature. Nature is the greatest teacher. Nature contains all the lessons of life right there under your nose. Get out in nature with your child. And number 3, share your meals with your child. Do not drive through McQuackles. Have some sort of halfway decent meal and share it with your child. Sit down, turn off all electronic devices during your meals, and be with your child or children and your mate if you have one. And let that be a time of connecting and sharing about your day, whatever you're feeling, whatever arises.